I am just playing today, and it is really rare for me to have just some playtime like this anymore. So I thought I would just flip on the camera while I'm playing and just chit chat. You know, I don't have a project to show you, I don't have a technique to share, I'm just playing. So let's just play together. So grab whatever you're working on and let's just sit and play together. How's that sound? Okay, so some of the things I've been playing around with, of course, a lot of vinyl. This is our livelihood right now, y'all. Our Etsy shop is what we're living on, or trying to live on. So of course that's why I'm devoting so much of my time to it. I kind of have to. Fortunately, I enjoy it, so you know, there's that. But it seriously cuts down on the time I have to sit here and make videos and just play. But I have been playing a lot with vinyl. These are the new white paintable custom keepers, and I have this one's a traveler's notebook size, and what I did on it, I'd been messing with some watercolors, and I had these painty paper towels, you know, like this, and I thought I would just glue them to the cover. Okay, first I did it with just regular white glue, like Elmer's, and I think it would have worked if I'd been more patient and actually let it dry, but it was still soggy and halfway dry, and I'm lifting the corner over and over again to see if it's stuck yet, and it's not stuck, and I'm lifting and it's not stuck, and it's still wet, and you really have to be patient when gluing on vinyl and let it dry, and I was just not having patience that day. So I pulled it off, I put spray glue on it, stuck it back down, instant gratification, that's what I needed. So I used spray glue, stuck 2 down, and they're this size, so they kind of overlapped like that. And I had a seam, so that's what the washi tape is about. I thought, okay, there's a seam, it was right here, that I wanted to cover up, but I didn't want it to look like I was using washi tape to cover up a seam. So what do? You make 2. 1 is a mistake, 2 is a technique, right? So now when I restring it and close it, it's going to look like this, which has kind of that book look, right? Front and back. So that's what that's all about. And after the spray glue dried, I did paint over it with some varnish. I think it was DecoArt Media gloss varnish. It didn't give it a glossy finish because this is paper towel and the varnish just soaked right through it. But that's all I wanted, was just a seal, you know, something to soak in and seal it in case I want to go back and collage on top. I didn't want any paper towel fuzz to cause an issue. So that worked great. So that's what I've done with that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the inside, if I'm going to paint it or collage on it. Maybe we'll figure that out while I'm filming. I don't know. But I did that, and then I have one of the inserts. This was a prototype. This is not the paper that's on the inserts because I chose to use SuedeTex. This paper I decided I didn't like, but you know, I'd already bound it. I couldn't just throw it away. So I decided to just use it for myself. And this is the one, these are the text weight inserts. So this paper is basically just like a high quality computer paper. It's 32-pound text weight, which is a really good, heavy, almost opaque text weight paper. I love this paper, but it's not watercolor paper. So what did I do? I watercolored on it. I also glued some things to it. See, I made a little page. These are some pockets we have in the shop. So I made a little, or not pockets, but corners that you can use for pockets. So I made a little page there showing that. And then I just really soaked the rest of it with watercolor. I glued some eco print pages on. And then the rest are just waiting for, you know, something fabulous. I don't know what. But this is just to show you that you don't need watercolor paper to watercolor. I've said this before. I did a video like watercolor like a rebel or something like that, where I just put watercolor on all kinds of not watercolor friendly papers. And as long as you handle them carefully, they're fine. You know, the eco printing, sometimes I use watercolor paper on that, and these were done at Rosemary Morris's house. And she's the same way. Sometimes she'll use watercolor paper or a good paper. Other times she uses junk mail envelopes. It can be done. So don't feel like that you have to have expensive fancy paper to watercolor. You don't. Okay, that being said, because this is not watercolor paper, it does wrinkle and it buckles. And if you're not careful, it will tear. I don't think I tore any of mine, but I was really surprised that I didn't. I just handled it carefully and used my heat gun to, you know, dry it a little bit as I went, and it did fine. Now, it was a lot wrinklier and bucklier than this, but ironing paper is actually a hobby of mine. I really like to iron paper. I don't iron clothes like ever, but paper, oh yeah, all the time. So I just kind of ironed them a little bit to flatten them out, and you know, they've still got kind of a texture, buckly texture to them, and I actually love that. And especially when you're watercoloring, sometimes when it buckles, that texture can make cool patterns in the watercolor. There's one page here. See, like this? That was because of buckling. There's another one in here that's just gorgeous. I can't remember. What? Oh, was that it? Oh, that is gorgeous. It's not the one I was thinking of. Anyway, I don't mind it. If it freaks you out, don't do it. But I don't mind it. So yeah, these are just the text weight inserts that I've been playing with. Watercoloring on that. I've got some more of, this is the SuedeTex paper that our inserts are covered with, and then the pockets are made out of, and they don't tear. And no matter how wet you get them, they don't tear. Yeah, you can cut them. You know, poke it with a knife or a pair of scissors. Sure, you're going to cut it, but just use and watercoloring on it, they don't tear. So I love these, and they are a joy to paint on. This is one that I did watercolor, and when I say watercolor, can we all agree that watercolor doesn't necessarily mean watercolor? It can mean, what I've got over here is a bunch of twinkling H2Os, you know, they have the mica powder in them, but they're water-based. That, to me, is watercolor. Your spray, most of your spray mist paints, those are water-based and blendy. That can be watercolor. I'm just talking anything that's water-based and not acrylic-based. Acrylic inks, they're water-based, yes, but it's an acrylic medium. It's just a liquid acrylic medium that they're mixed with. So this, to me, is not in the watercolor family. This is in the acrylic family. So now that you're thoroughly confused, just use whatever kind of paint you want, you know. But this is what I've been doing. The black on here is acrylic. It's over the watercolory background. So I've been playing with those. I'm going to paint up some more of these just because I like putting paint on paper, and then I'm probably going to stick some of them in here. And another thing I've been doing, I was doing this just a minute ago, is, okay, because I went to Rosemary Morris's eco printing workshop at her house, you know, and we ended up with some fabulous prints. I've got a whole thing full of them. But I brought this to the workshop, just not so much to see, you know, how it would eco print, because it's just cardstock. So, you know, I knew it would be, you know, kind of delicate. It would fall apart easy. I think I lost one page just because I was impatient and started messing with it before it cooled. But anyway, the other pages stayed in. But they are very buckly and weird. Really, the only reason I wanted to eco dye this was just so that I could put the fused vinyl in the pot and boil it and see what happens. That's all I wanted to know. Was it going to fall apart? Did it hold together? What would happen? Well, it didn't fall apart. I wondered if it would come unfused with all the heat and the water, and it did not. It stayed together. I mean, it took on a weird shape because it was kind of scrunched, but I just ironed it out. But yeah, These, I don't think we have these in the shop anymore. These were the little ATC books. They didn't really sell very well, so I'm not going to make any more. But this was, like I said, just an experiment anyway. So anyway, I have been watercoloring some of the eco prints, which is super cool. Because a lot of the times, you know, when you're eco printing, sometimes every page is awesome. Sometimes every page is meh. Usually you get a combination of awesome and meh. So some of the awesome ones you just want to leave pristine like they are. But on some of the meh ones, I thought, I wonder what would happen if you just added a little color with watercolors. Okay, this one had like nothing going on, so I just put watercolor on it. But look at these. I just put a little watercolor. Some of it bled through from the back, which is kind of cool. And then you can add color, subtle color, to your eco prints. You know, whether they are fabulous prints or not, doesn't matter. These are even still kind of wet. But I just kind of added color to the blobs that were already there, and this is so fun. I got to here and went, oh, that's kind of gross. What am I going to do with that? I don't know. So let's just start playing and do something with it. I've got, these are the twinkling H2Os that I'm using. I had this shadow box thing that the little pots just fit perfectly in, so that's what that's all about. And an old water brush. I have brand new water brushes that I never remember to use. Don't know why, but that's alright. I'm just going to use this. And then I usually have to do this to see what color I've got. That's brown. I've already got plenty of brown on the page, so I'm not going to use that. Let's do, give me something purple. Like, yes, that's a good one. Kind of pinkish purple. And we're watercoloring, so let's just blob it. There's really no particular pattern to follow or fill in, so I'm just going to blob with colors that I want. I don't know the names of these colors. I think it's on the bottom of the little pots, but yeah, I'm not going to lift them up and try to see what that is, because I'll just make a mess. So I was out in the garage, and that's where we do all of our work and make the custom keepers. And it's super hot out there, you know, right? And we have the fan going, so that helps move the hot air around, which is so refreshing. But anyway, I thought, all right, I'm going to film today, and I can't even find my kitchen table. There was so much stuff piled on top of it. I went, okay, I'll film out in the garage. So I start hauling stuff out into the garage, you know, my paint, my papers, my camera, the stuff I'm working on, getting it all set up. And then I just thought, really, Shannon, you know, you're gonna do this out in the garage where it's hot. You've got the fan, you know, making background noise, which means, you know, that's gonna totally narf up your video. And this is all because you're too lazy to clean off the kitchen table. Is that who you are? Why, yes, it is. So yeah, felt kind of bad about that. So I actually came inside and cleaned off the kitchen table. Okay, it took me like 15 minutes, right? And I've been putting it off for literally months, and it wasn't anything more than a 15-minute job. Of course, you know, truth be told, I didn't actually clean off the kitchen table. I just moved the stuff to another spot. But at least it freed up space for me to do things, right? And then I felt more mature because I brought everything back inside, you know, where I could actually work on the kitchen table, and felt all mature for cleaning it off instead of avoiding it and trying to film outside. So yeah, it was a little victory, but I'll take it. These little leaves, I don't remember what they were, but they did pretty good, and I think I want them that color. That's too blue. Where's that one that's kind of blue and green? Oh, I like that. Let's do that. got a craft mat sitting right here beside me, which I guess I could do all of that on this craft mat instead of the paper. Okay, let me try to be a big girl again and actually move my craft mat over a couple of inches and use it. And there we go. I can move these scraps. That's okay. There. Do I need to move in closer? Maybe I do. I forget. I've got a tiny book happening. So let's move in. Okay. There we are. And I don't know what that was, but there's kind of a shape right there. So I'll use whatever that is. It's orange. Ooh, that's a lot of orange. That is way more orange than anyone needs. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Okay. My battery died, so I took a little break for lunch. Tuna sandwich, if you're wondering. Went back and looked at some of the other ones that I did. And the ones where I really tried to, you know, make it look like a flower, I don't like those. The ones where I just blobbed the color on, I really like them. So, you know, go figure. I'll show you what I'm talking about. That one, don't like so much. Really bad. Nah. Love it. Now, this has the text weight pages. I'm gonna get it wet, maybe 2 or 3 of them. Then, just put some colors on there. A lot of color on there. This is the SuedeTex paper, which loves water and watercolor. It does bleed through, but I'm actually a fan of bleed through, as we have stated. Green. You can do, you know, like one color on a page and then go back and do some more colors, or you can put several colors on a page. It doesn't matter. I'm just kind of letting my brush fall into whichever blob of paint it wants to. All these books have 20 pages in them. That just seems to be a magic number for me. It's just right. You know, it's enough to give me plenty of pages to work with, but not so much that I get overwhelmed at the number of pages that are facing me. Okay, now as you can see, I've got a wet, whoops, lost a page, wet, mushy mess that needs to be handled very carefully. And I'm going to set this out in the garage to dry, and then we'll come back in a day or two, because it's going to take a while, and see what we've got. Now I think I'm going to do a pocket thing. This is a SuedeTex pocket. And I'm going to do this one with some liquid acrylics. And you can do it, this paper will take pretty much anything, and it reacts different depending on what you use. When you use watercolor with it, it disperses the colors, and it just automatically makes them blend, and like this. This is watercolor on SuedeTex. And it's a very cool effect, I think, but it just, the watercolor immediately soaks into the paper and spreads, and it's really kind of cool. Liquid acrylics give you a little bit more control. They don't spread quite as much. They tend to kind of sit where you put them a little better. I don't know if you can tell what I'm even talking about. But either works great. They both just, they look a little different, do a little different. So, I think I'm just going to use some liquid acrylics on this. I'm going to wet it all down first. This SuedeTex is not watercolor paper. It's just a very cool paper that you can watercolor on. So don't expect it to do exactly what watercolor paper does, because it will not. Your paint will soak through, which I kind of think can be cool. Takes a long time to dry, and it really blends, you know, makes your watercolors, you know, disperse, like I was saying. So it's a little different, but very cool if you ask me. I'm going to use some of these FW liquid acrylics and drop them on here, and boy does that look cool. I wonder if that would stay that way. Oh. And I meant to do that. Okay, did not see that coming. Let's just see if this stays. I don't know if it will, because there's a lot of water on there. I'm afraid if I try to soak up the water, I'm going to lose everything. That was really interesting. Yeah, it does kind of stay. Huh. Hey, how can I work this to my advantage? Let's just play. Let's see if I can spread those out more. Well, not really. I probably could blow on them with a straw, but that tends to give me a headache, so I don't really do that very often. So, get rid of this excess. Now, I suppose I'm going to need to spray water. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to spray some more water on here. This says denatured alcohol. It lies. It is not. It is just water. And let's see if this one, oh, see, this one doesn't do it. I wonder if it's because I didn't have enough water. Maybe it has to be standing water. Oh, yeah, it does. It's got to be a puddle. that's still very cool looking. Alright, can I, if I brush, am I going to lose everything? Yeah, it's going to spread that yellow too much. Oh, where'd that come from? Whoops! Okay, so I'm going to go back in with the spray some more. Now, I'm going to use this turquoise. So fascinating. I really feel like I want some pink, and I don't have a pink liquid acrylic. I have this red that I sort of turned into a really sad pink. Let's just see how bad that is. Kind of bad. Well, you know, maybe not. Let's give it a chance. Get off some of my dirty paper towel. Give it a roll. Oh, not bad. Okay, I think that's really kind of cool looking. It wasn't what I was expecting. Excuse me. Wasn't what I was going for, but it's what I got. So there we have it. I'm going to do some over here. You can see that it's soaked through to the inside, and whatever I do on the inside is probably going to soak through to the back side. But that's alright. Let's just see what we get. Okay, I'm super duper loving this. So I am going to leave it alone and let it dry and see if I still love it when it dries. I think I'm going to. Okay, well that was fun. I didn't really know it was going to do that. Maybe I'll start on the inside this time. And then I will just brush it on. Or not. Okay. Yeah, I super duper like this one a lot too. Yeah. That turned out really cool. The inside, not so much, but whatever. But the outside, that's just a little bit of awesome. It turned cloudy, so I think the colors might look a little washed out on your screen. I can't really tell, but I love it. I love it a lot. Okay. So, am I through playing? Should I just go ahead and do this one while I've got paint and stuff out? I think I will. I'll go ahead and do this. This one has cardstock pages. Maybe I'll go ahead and let them down so that they'll get good and soaked, and so that they'll tear easier, you know. It's another reason I like these 20-page journals, because I can do a whole journal at a time, which is really what I like to do. I'm not so much about journal pages, you know, going page by page. I do it, and that's fine, but I just really love when I can just sit down and completely saturate an entire journal. And 20 pages is a good number. I really should wash my hands. Am I going to? No, don't think so. Okay. So, we've got SuedeTex on the covers here. Probably do those last because they'll get kind of funky. And here, I think I'm going to go back to my mica watercolors over here and just do like I did in that other book, and kind of just blob them on, because that worked well. I'm adding water to some of these that have gotten a little bit dry, because I like them super duper wet. I let all my stuff dry overnight, and here's what we've got. This is the little eco print book, and some of the little things turned out really good, and then some were kind of, yeah, you know, so-so. But I can use these like they are standalone or as backgrounds. I can go in with a black pen and add details, or I can just sit this on my shelf and pull it out every once in a while and go, ooh, ah. And I have not ironed these pages yet. They're still, see, they're still super wrinkly and buckly, and that's okay. It's actually kind of cool. I'm definitely going to be doing more of this because I really like how these turned out. Love those leaves. So there's the eco prints. This is the little cardstock book with SuedeTex covers. I didn't even paint the covers. This is just a kind of runoff paint, but that's okay. It looks cool. A couple of the pages did pull out, and I just went in, you just put a little bead of glue and smooth it with your finger and stick it back in. Yeah, works just fine. Now you can completely eliminate that problem by taping your pages before you start messing with them. I just don't bother. I don't see any need. If they fall out, stick them back in. If they don't, great. I think that one's my favorite. Or maybe that one. Okay, and then the last one, this one was the little, it had the text weight pages. You can see they're all deliciously buckly. Oh, that one's pretty. I like that. This is just super simple, just literally blobbing watercolor onto non-watercolor paper, letting it soak in, move around, and it will do all the work for you of creating beautiful patterns and interesting places. And the pockets, this one was the one that we did with the liquid acrylics, and it turned out beautifully. And then with the watercolors, I love this. I just still love it. I love it so hard. I just love it. And then this awesome one. So what I'm going to do now is take my cover that I had done with the paper towels and restring it. Custom keepers always come with restringing instructions in case you want to pull your strings out and decorate like I did. Since I covered my holes with paper, I'm just going to re-poke them like so. Okay. Now, got my string, which I will also eventually color. I forgot to do that. Okay, my spine string, the closure, all I do is just pinch it together, stick it back through the hole, like so. There's that one. And for the binding string, I want my, this is a little piece of craft wire I'm going to use kind of as my needle. So I'll put that in there like that. And then this makes it much easier to get through the holes, because some of the holes you have to go through twice. So yeah, it makes it easier. So I'm going to start in the middle, top or bottom, doesn't matter. Start in the middle and then leave a tail coming down to just past the center. It's usually about right. Then you go through either hole, doesn't matter, one of the side ones. Just like that. And then down. Don't pull too tight, just so they're taut, but not tight, right? Back up through the middle here. And this is where this really comes in handy, because I've got to go back through this one. See, I came up through the middle hole, so I've got to go back through that top middle hole. So I'm going to just pull this over to the side and use my little wire to get down in there and pull my elastic through. And then go over to the next one. Can't see it. There we go. Like that. And then down here. And back up through the middle. Pull that up and then you're done. You can tie these off in a square knot. Remember the square knot? It's hard to see because I'm white on white here. Put one over the other, doesn't matter which way, but you can see you've got one kind of coming out the top. Whoops. And then one kind of coming out the bottom. Just make sure the top stays on top, the bottom stays on bottom. Don't do this, because that's bringing the bottom to the top. Yeah, don't do that. Keep the bottom thread on the bottom, the top thread on the top. So your next over, you're going to keep, see this one's on the top, so put it over the top of the bottom thread, and then pull that tighter. There we go. So that right over left, left over right, that makes no sense to me. But keep the top to the top and the bottom to the bottom. That makes sense. And that will give you a square knot. Okay. So, got my little guy rethreaded. Now I can put my stuff in it. I've got this insert I can put into one of the things. I've got this insert that I made already once upon a time. I can put in another one. And then I've got these two. I can do like that. And then this one here. Now, I am rocking and rolling with my Painty Traveler's Notebook Custom Keeper with the pockets that won't fall apart. Ta-da! Okay. So, yeah, I'll do stuff with these. I don't know what yet, but you know, I don't care. I did the fun part, the part that I really wanted to do. So, you know, I got the joy out of them, and I can continue to use them or not. I can just sit them on a shelf and fondle them on occasion, which I'm not beyond. So there is that. This was fun. I had a fun play day. It's now it's Monday. It's back to work. So I will be seeing y'all. I have another video project planned that I'm hoping will come up later this week. And until then, the end.